Here at Glory FM.
Nothing like a smooth transition into the midday. Be sure to tune to The Shift Monday to Friday at 12:30 p.m. with Joinae Gibson on Glory 93.9 FM. The freshest wave of glory to hit the Bahamas.
It's an amazing day here at Glory 93.9 FM. It's 12:30, so you know exactly what that means. You're tuned in and, of course, always locked and loaded on The Shift with yours truly. I'm so excited to be in your company today, and I want to read this scripture in your hearing. Before I get to that scripture, I'm just going to tell you where it's taken from, and I'm going to read a quote for you, right? The scripture is taken from Mark 11, and I'm reading two verses 12 through 14. But I want to start by saying this. Deception is when what is seen doesn't match what truly is. Deception is when what is seen, what is physical, does not match what that thing, that group of people, that circumstance truly is. The scripture that I'm about to read is Jesus and the fig tree, right? So Jesus, I'm going to paraphrase. So Jesus, they came from Bethany and he was hungry and he saw a fig tree afar off having leaves. So he came close to it and he was excited because he was looking to see if there was anything that he can eat, right? He came close to it, but he found nothing but leaves. And the Bible says, for the time for figs was not yet. And Jesus answered and said unto it, no man eat fruit of thee hereafter forever. And the disciples heard it. I have a few thoughts, but I want to read a definition. Deception is the act of causing someone to believe something that is not true, presenting appearance like you have something, right? There are some people in your life, you are in certain environments that from afar off seemed like it had figs. It seemed like it was flourishing. It seemed like it was everything, honestly, if you're honest, that it's not, right? Deception isn't always loud or loud at all. It's not obvious. It's very subtle. It's not overt. It's very covert. And it appears reasonable. It appears familiar. And sometimes it even appears spiritual. It does not always deny truth, but sometimes it just reshapes the truth. It has that 1% lie, 99% truth in it. And if you're honest, many of us have been led or misled based on what something appeared to be, and it really wasn't. And I want you to think about, yesterday we talked about friendships. I want you to think about that friendship. I want you to think about that work relationship. I want you to think about, being in that relationship with that spouse. I want you to think about everything, every area of your life where you may have encountered some level of deception. We say it all the time. Well, I didn't expect this to be like this, or this person didn't show me this originally, or this person didn't do X, Y, Z. No, it was simply because we refused to use discernment or refused to trust our discernment, and in turn being deceived. When deception happens, it's usually when there is not much clarity. You quickly agree, you quickly, just let all guards down and you say, you know something? Okay, well, this seems to be legit. This seems to be right. This person seems to be truthful. And even in light of today's topic, preparation is not only about readiness for a blessing or transition, but a part of preparation is heightening your discernment. To not be deceived. The Bible talks about having the belt of truth on. And it simply means that I am able to differentiate between a lie and the truth so that you are not deceived. Anytime someone has an issue with you examining or questioning or, just your curiosity, trying to find out more information, truth, it doesn't fear examination. Truth can withstand light. Truth does not fear questions. And, this is just a pre-note to what we're going to talk about today, but really taking the time to slow down and examine the quote unquote fig trees, or examine the people and the environments and the spaces and places that we are, to examine them with the eyes of Jesus. Jesus said, you know something? Okay, I'm hungry. So from afar off, you seem like you can help, or you are the solution to my problem. But when I come closer, and I want you to hear me in the Holy Ghost, when I come closer, when I get to know you a little bit more, when I get to closely examine the tree, there are no fruits. And there are many of you today listening today that may be dealing with a fig tree situation. You may be dealing with that group of people, that person that started off as if they had figs. They started off as if they had something to offer, or, what they were portraying is not who they really are. And in order to move forward, in order to get to your next level, your next season, it will require some cutting away. And, Jesus was cool. Jesus said, you know something? You won't bear anymore. And I'm not saying you go cursing big trees. All I'm saying is really recognize the people, really recognize the spaces and places and the environments that you are in, so that you can move and not be deceived. The Bible talks about being deceived and going around deceiving. So you can, and the greatest deception is the one that we tell ourselves, right? You can be so deceived that you will convince people in your deception. We're going to get into that in a few. I don't want to go any further with that. Shifters, you're locked in. Maybe you're in your car. Maybe you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, and now we're live on TikTok. Maybe even rewatching this broadcast. I want to say, hey, welcome to The Shift, and I'm your host, Joinae. Be sure to like and share the show. We are live every Monday through Friday, same time, same place, favorite station, with your favorite person. I want you to know, do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. We're on YouTube as well, y'all. So please don't forget to subscribe to YouTube. Make sure you get that notification when we are live. And of course, every day, the call and text lines, they're open. They're in the caption on your screen and in the comment section. Today, the call line is 242-827-2543. And of course, the text line is 242-817-2544. And I'm ready for you today. I am absolutely ready. Of course, to my faithful shifters, y'all ring up my phone yesterday. Thank you all so much for your unwavering, undying support. Every Monday through Friday, you are here with me and you're locked in. Sometimes you guys are here before me, and I love that. typing to me, hello, it's 12:30. We're ready. And I know we're locked in. And I just want to say, I thank you so much for your support. With that being said, let's move right into today's topic. Hey, Keisha. Hey, LeBron fan. All of you on TikTok. Hello. To my Facebook listeners, YouTube listeners, and all those tuned in via Glory 93.9 FM. Let's go. Today's topic is you don't shift by accident. You prepare. I'll say that again. You don't shift by accident. You prepare. Now, yesterday, earlier in the show, I talked about how this season is difficult. I talked about, how this season, I've labeled it as the season of transition. I talked about and I really defined what that transition means. It is the space between endings and arrivals, right? It is the sacred middle where transformation and manifestation happens before that thing shifts or before that reality comes forth. It is, a season of preparation, and it's not punishment. It is the way of building your capacity before God releases his glory. Okay? A shift does not begin when things change around you. It begins when you recognize, hear me, it begins when you recognize that it's really time to move. Now, I know all of us have been at that point in our lives where you just know, listen, it's time to move. This won't work. This level won't work. This sound won't work. This language won't work. This, attire won't work. This speech won't work. I need to take it up a notch, right? There is something so powerful about the word shift. No pun intended, but of course, the name of this show, right? There is something so powerful about shift, or what it means to shift, because shifting is not only about movement, but it is intentional transition. It is the intentional moving to the next level. So you don't wake up in a new season by accident. You don't transition to another level randomly. And growth doesn't just happen, or you don't just shift because time went by. But shift is intentional transition. You recognize that signal, that sound, that sign, and you say, something, I got to respond. I know that, it's time to move, right? Life gives us moments and indications and all kind of red flags when it's time to shift. I want you to think about a standard shift car, right? There is a particular sound, or there is something that happens or tells you when it's time to change gears. Now, mind you, I am not a standard shift driver. Please don't judge me, right? Hey, Joinae, right? But when it's time to change gears, that car will let you know, listen, it's time to shift. There is a sound. The engine starts to rev higher, right? The RPM rises. So listen, it's time to shift. Now, nothing is necessarily wrong with the car, but something is working harder than it should. And I want to stick a pin right there, because many of you, if you're listening today, hear me good. You are working harder than you should. You are putting in that overtime. You are doing all of the extra work. You are going harder. And the real issue is not, the intensity or the strength, but it's in the gear. So a lot of you are getting stuck in first gear, getting stuck in second gear, getting stuck in third gear, and you don't know how to get to that next level. When you ignore the signs or the sound that car needs to shift gears, you start to strain the engine. Point number one. You feel like you've been running like an Energizer bunny, literally, right? You are burning from both ends, burning the candle at both ends. You're barely making it. Your movement becomes limited and insufficient. All of your efforts seem to be so frivolous. It seems to be so difficult. Everything feels like a weight. Everything feels like, just dragging in or just trying to make it. But the problem isn't the car. The problem isn't I don't know how much other languages I can say that. Le problemas. That sound like Spanish, Alan? It sound like Alan said that's not even problemo. You get it. Whatever other language, please. Yes, the problem isn't the car. The problem is you refusing to shift. So you are in first gear spiritually. Ouch. You are clinging to what is familiar. You are clinging to that old and those repeated patterns. You are staying in environments that once served you but can no longer sustain the next level or can no longer pull you into a next level. Listen, there are some people that I can be around and literally they will drain the life out of me. Yes, they pull and they pull and they pull. But on the flip side, there is, I can say, one or two persons in my life right now that anytime I get in their presence, anytime we have that conversation, listen, I feel like I can literally fly. Put me on top of the building, let me fly. Like that's how much energy and, just talking and just, throwing thoughts around. And it's so helpful, right? So the reason that you cannot shift, one, is simply because it's not the car, but it could be your environment. You are trying to run a new season in a old gear. So that first gear may be a mental gear. You thinking the same way. You still thinking like your old season. You have those, again, self-limiting beliefs. You try to control the expanded opportunities. So people will offer you, new opportunities or offer you new avenues, but because of your self-limiting beliefs, you turn them down, and that is being stuck in that first mental gear. You refuse really to outgrow that survival mindset, and you still operate from fear. All right. You're in that emotional gear where you're carrying old wounds. You're carrying that same mentality or that trauma from that previous relationship into new relationships. And I'm not just talking about your romantic relationships. I'm talking even about your business relationships, your friendships. You want to take that same baggage, that same weight, that same mentality, and you start to react instead of respond. And listen, y'all know we've already spoken about this before. So if I know I'm moving fast, but I need you to really catch up with me. Why? Because we are shifting gears today. Then there is that spiritual gear where you want new revelation, you want new power, you want new fire, but you don't want to change your discipline. You don't want to up your sacrifice. You expect elevation. You expect revelation without deeper intimacy. You're outgrowing that surface level of faith. Even relationally, you stay connected to versions of yourself that you've already outgrown. I don't want you to think that, the Bible talks about, should Christ bear the cross alone and the world go free? We all have our crosses to bear. And we all have that thing, that dying of oneself that we need to get rid of. But we think that only Jesus had to let go. And there are some versions of ourselves that we need to let go. And this is one of the last ones that I want to mention to you for this segment or this part is the identity gear. And it ties into that relational gear as well, where you are introducing yourself from who you were instead of who you are becoming. You introduce yourself from who you were instead of introducing yourself from who you are becoming. So you have that fear of evolving publicly. Someone saw me today and, they were like, hey, Joinae, you have a guest today or something. Why you look so like studious? Why you look so doing a lot? No, I am going to the studio. I am at the studio and I'm going to give it my best. I'm going to give it top tier. Why? Because I am not operating from where I am. And it doesn't necessarily say that there is something wrong with where I am or where you are. It just means that I am preparing for what's to come. If you constantly operate from your current reality, then you will no longer be able to transcend into a different one. All right. So I say this again. You don't shift by accident. You shift when you prepare. Every new level requires awareness. It requires intention. It requires, just to go that little extra mile. And I want to define what preparation really is for you. And I want you to hear me good. Preparation is the intentional process. Intentional process. I need you to hold on to that word. Intentional process of getting ready in advance. Now, I lose 90% of the women then because if you tell us be ready for 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock is when we doing our makeup. Yes. Just trying to figure out the outfit at 7:30. Yes. You know why? Because we're not used to that being prepared or being ready before time. Okay. Expectation. And this is what I want you to understand. Preparation is evidence that you have expectation. Preparation is evidence that you, although you cannot see it, although it hasn't happened as yet, you are ready. I want you to think about, and there is a chart today says, going in the shower at 8 because, right, we're not ready. And you know what I think the issue is too? We don't want to just sit around doing nothing. We need that thrill of rushing and doing at the last minute that just, I don't know. I'm working on it. Being prepared, right? So I want you to think about when you start that business, right? When you start, you may not have as much clients. You may have one client. But when you start to prepare for more clients, you start blocking out times on your calendar prophetically. I'm going to say prophetically, right? And you say, you know something? At 8 p.m., at 7 p.m., and at 6 p.m., I have a very important meeting. I have this thing that's coming up, and you booked and busy to the point where when opportunities start to arise for you or they start to come to you, don't respond quickly. And when I say don't respond quickly, I don't mean like not answer people. But what I'm saying is change your language. You don't need to sound like you're a novice. You don't need to sound like you're inexperienced. But you can. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Let me check my calendar. I want to make sure that I have nothing else clashing with that date. I want to make sure that my inventory or my staff, they're ready for this. Boom, boom, boom. You got to change your language. Why? Because you are preparing for what's to come. If not 100% of the times, 99.99% of the times, we lose opportunities because not of our lack of gifting, not because we cannot do it, not because we're not able to do it, but because we lack preparation. Someone said something to me recently, and I just began to think about it. And of course, everyone is different. But they said something like, listen, I don't like things springing up on me at the last minute. And I get that. And to an extent, I can agree. But I start to think about preparation. There was a season or 2 seasons before I got to this point that I just started buying pieces of clothes. Like I just would buy jackets, or just would buy hats, or just would buy, like skirts and pants and heels and kitten heels. I didn't know what I was buying it for, I just started to do it. I got this feeling that, okay, something is going to come up and I'm going to need to be prepared, not knowing what's going to happen, or maybe having that feeling of what's going to happen, but I decided to start preparing. I have a friend that she's in college, right? And one day, she just called me. She's like, listen, Joinae, I ain't gonna lie. That's how we talk, right? I ain't gonna lie. I just feel this. She wasn't working at the time, but she wanted this office job, right? So she said, listen, I'm going to go to school dressed like I just came from work, or like I'm headed to work. I tell you all this real. I'm not making up a story of something. No. She said, I'm going to go to school and I am going to dress as if I am headed to work or just coming from work. Full face, heels, jacket, pants, purse. She said, I'm not going to take a book bag. I'm going to get a big enough purse and I'm going to put all of my school books, all of my everything I need for my classes. I'm going to put that in my big bag so that I manifest exactly what I want and who I want to be. Could I tell you, in a matter of, I want to say 2 months, I feel like it's less, right? In a matter of 2 months or so, she landed an office job and have to dress, literally required to dress the same way she attended school. See, you don't want to put that extra mile. You don't want to put in that extra effort for where you're going because your reality contradicts your expectations so much. You could get so locked into what you know now and what you feel now that it hinders manifestation. All over the internet, and there is a study, I'm not sure of the year this happened, but one year in particular, let's call it 2022. In year 2022, there was a research done on how many times persons Googled manifestation, how to manifest, how to, quantum leap, how to quantum shift, right? And the results said about 70 to 80% of the searches for that entire year was on manifestation. What am I saying to you? If we have that worldly concept, and I'm talking to us believers, if we have that worldly concept, or the world has a concept of manifestation, we are operating by faith. That's all manifestation really is, faith. Faith in action. You start to dress for where you're going. You start to save money before that opportunity happens. You start to clean and start to organize your home and start to organize your workspace for what's coming and what's going to happen. Again, if you're just tuned in via Glory 93.9 FM, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, a worldwide listener, today's topic is you don't shift by accident, you prepare. I've been going through countless scenarios of when persons make up in their mind that they're going to shift and what that preparation looks like. I remember a season where I just got this feeling, listen, you need to fix your hair. Now, mind you, If anyone knows me, they know if I will beat my face. I will fix my nails. I will even order clothes. But when it came down to fixing my hair, I struggled. I struggled because it just felt like too much. It just felt like, okay, I already went through all of this and I have to fix my hair. Too much. Face beat, outfit on point, hair not brush. Honestly, me and my friend have a running joke about that, right? But when I started to get in certain spaces and places, they're looking at your hair. They're looking at, you know, they're looking at how you present yourself. And if you are really going to where you say you want to be, there are some things that you're going to have to shift. Okay, I have 3 key things that are going to help you shift and prepare for your shift. You need optimism, you need audacity, and you need consistency. And I want to add discipline onto that, right? So optimism is the belief, and here's that word again, expectation that good outcomes are possible even in difficult circumstances. So it's where you choose hope over discouragement and seeing the possibility where other persons may see a limitation, right? So when you operate and you are optimistic, you start to see the glass half full instead of half empty. Optimism is required for your belief system to not be shaken. It is the ability to believe and expect even when your circumstances are contradicting what you feel internally. Scripture tells us, now faith is the substance of things hoped for. Hope, expectation, but the evidence of things not seen. So although there is no, or seems to be no hope, although there seems to be no good outcome or good result from the situation, optimism says, listen, okay, yes, it looks contrary. Yes, it looks difficult. Yes, it seems impossible, but you can make it. There's a research, and I'm going to find it for you. There's a research that I found on Facebook, and it's in psychology, right? And it says research suggests that people who are slightly delusional, hear this, delulu, slightly delusional about their future often achieve more and earn more than realists. So a realist says, okay, this is my current circumstance. Every 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, everything must go in sequence, must go in order, right? Or accepting their reality, right? But when you are slightly delusional, you are, based on psychology research, you are more, open to receiving or getting better results than someone who is a realist. So it requires a little more delusion. It requires a little more optimism. There's a piece in here that says, by believing success is possible, individuals, hear this, are more likely to take risks and seize opportunities that others might avoid. Shaquita says, I need to get a bit delulu because being real ain't helping. No, because being real, and that simply means locking into your reality, locking into your 5 physical senses. This is what I see, this is what I feel, this is what I smell, this is what I hear. But when you lock into that optimism, when you lock into just that hint of delusion, just delulu for a good minute, you're able to see beyond what you feel. You're able to see beyond what you naturally see, right? So they say, over time, this can translate into higher achievement and even greater financial outcomes. They say, so then this is from Psychology Today, a touch of delusion about one's future may actually be a powerful driver of success. So it means if you and I could just tap into just a teent of, I'm just minimizing it, right? Just a teent of delusion, just to believe that you can do anything, to believe that you can achieve anything. Listen, when certain opportunities, and this is why, I mentioned earlier, being around people that are not impressed by you, but can believe in you even when you don't see certain things in you. This is why in my life, when certain opportunities came up, there were certain people that I couldn't share it with. There were certain people that I could not say that, because as far as they were concerned, and it came up later, obviously, but as far as they were concerned, certain things were a downgrade for me. Hear me. Don't allow, and I'm not saying settle, but what I am saying is when you start to operate from a different reality, a different realm, you start to see things. Yes, yes, you're right. You start to see things from a different perspective. Say, may all your delulu become true lulu. Absolutely. But they started to see things from that lower level. They started to tell me, don't accept that. Don't do that. And then there was a group of people, that, and we talked about this yesterday, that inner circle who actually have influence in your life. I said, no, this is huge. Go do it. Accept it. Show up like you been there long time. But that requires a level of delulu, a level of optimism. Listen, there are some things in life that, and I want to explain it this way. When you start to operate, and I don't want you to think that you can just operate in this level of delulu or quote unquote optimism casually, there are going to be people who will question it. They will even criticize it. They will even try to persuade you to change your mind. Why you have to do all of that? You already have a degree. You already established certain things in life. You shouldn't have to do that. You shouldn't have to go there. You shouldn't have to do this. And they will try to persuade you to cause you to take it down a notch. They want to keep you at bay. See, you're only good for this. So you have mastered this. You have mastered this. You are good at this. Your gifting is this. Stay in this lane. But when you operate from that level of delulu, aka optimism, your belief and your expectation supersedes your reality. It supersedes what you know to be current, what you know to be true right now. People will start to criticize you. They will try to make you feel bad and discouraged about the decisions that you make because they have no foresight. They have no foresight. They cannot see further than the room that they are in. And it's a dangerous game you play when you start to take advice from people who have no foresight, who don't understand what's to come or have no expectation for what's to come. So they only can advise you to prepare from where you are right now. They can only advise you to maintain what you have now. But when you get around, that group of people Shaquita says they can only see as far as their nose. No, seriously, and they barely can see that, right? But when you start to surround yourself with those kind of people of like mind, then you'll start to see results. So the first thing, we know today's topic, you don't shift by accident, you prepare. The first thing you're going to need is optimism. You're going to have to be optimistic. Okay, this person told me no. Okay, I'm going to move on to something else. Okay, this didn't work. Okay, no problem. I got 4 views on my video. Okay, no problem. There are a ton of people that will watch it later. Optimism. Because I'm going against what I see. I'm going against what I know to be true in this reality. But could I tell you, and I know it sounds crazy, but could I tell you, there is another reality, another realm where all of these things that you are fighting for, or believing for, or hoping for, these things are true. And if you listen to persons that have become more aware, you can hear that they speak. The language is beyond this reality. Okay. First things first, optimism. Hey, Mo. Hey, Crystal. Optimism. You're going to need it. When you start to operate from this level of optimism, people will question you. Stand 10 toes down. And, start to think like this. So what if it doesn't work out? I won't ever be able to say if it worked or not if I don't try. And if we could get rid of that fear of being seen trying, that fear of being seen failing, maybe not as successful at a thing as we would. Thank you, Mo. As we would like to be. Second thing you're going to need is audacity. You have to be extremely audacious. You need to, when I say, and this is how the optimism and audacity just really tie in together, right? So audacity, hear this, is bold courage or confident willingness to take risk and act beyond fear or approval. Most of the time, we cannot shift gears. We're still in first gear. We're still in second gear. We're still in third gear, simply because we care about what people think too much. We do not have the confidence or the willingness to take risk and act beyond our fear. What if they say this look bad? What if they say this ain't making no sense? What if I fail? What if I fall down? What if I stumble over my words? Listen, I speak to you guys every Monday through Friday. At some point on a Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm going to make a mistake. Does that make me go in a hole and cry? No. Does it take away from the message or the information that you are receiving? No. Why? Because I have let go, and I don't want you to think that it was just some kind of walk in a park. I don't want you to think that there was no fear. I don't want you to think there was no doubt. No. What I'm saying is I had to master that. I had to master moving beyond people's approval, moving beyond my own fear, and take the bold courage, take on that confident willingness to take the risk and act beyond how I feel. So what if I stumble over a word? I have a TikTok, and I want you to go watch it on my TikTok. I have a TikTok when I was trying to say subscribe. I say, don't forget to subscribe. And I made a joke about it. Why? Because my error or my fault or just struggling in that moment. I don't even know why I was struggling. Struggling in that moment does not take away from my audacity. It does not take away from my optimism. It does not take away from who I am doing what I am doing. You need, that's it, Monique. You need bold courage. I'm not talking about the courage that you just feel in your room when you hype yourself up and you listen to that 10-minute motivational speech on YouTube. I'm talking about that bold courage that makes you act, that makes you go out and pursue that dream, that makes you go out and do that public speaking, that makes you go out and expand that business on a family island, that makes you go out and start to do. We don't shift by accident. All of the signs are there. You can hear that it's time for you to shift. And you know, I'm using this physical analogy with the car, the standard shift car, that you hear when the car needs to shift. You can hear the RPM, you could see the RPM rising, you could hear the engine working overtime. And so what you start to delude yourself, just a bad delusion now, where you tell yourself, man, I'm working so hard and I'm not getting any results. But the lack of results is simply because you are in the wrong gear. If you could shift your mind, if you could shift your spirit, if you could start just waking up earlier, praying consistently. Listen, you are unstoppable. Hear me? When I say on to the stop, to the bull. Unstoppable. You are unstoppable. Seriously. You need that optimism. You need that audacity, the bold courage, audacious, to get up, to hold your head up and say, you know something? I can do this. I can do this as if I have been doing this for years. I can do this. Listen to me. I am not tooting my own horn. I have been in radio maybe a little over a year, almost 2 years now. Within my first year, never did radio before, never knew anything about radio before. Within my first year, I received a BGMA award for Radio Personality of the Year. Ever in the history, while simultaneously being able to put BGMA Radio Personality and Radio Station of the Year in the first year. You can shift anything. You can shift anywhere. Whether you have years of experience or no experience at all. You know what it took? Courage. You know what it took? Optimism. You know what it took? Audacity. I remember people saying to me, well, I don't know how you're going to do with this. Let's go there. Oh, we don't know what you coming to say. We don't know. I mean, that's the name that you want to put for your show. I'm telling you, it's all fun and games until you actually do it. It's all fun and games until they see you actually operating, actually taking the having bold courage to do what you said that you were going to do. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it seems like it right then to you, you know. That's not the point. The point is transcending. Okay. I'm going to get into transcending in 1 minute. Let's move to this next one. So we have optimism. We have audacity. You have to be audacious, right? Thirdly, and this is twofold, you need consistency and discipline. Consistency is the commitment to show up repeatedly with the same effort and intention over time. So it's, when you hear those people who say, well, you start off strong. No, you don't just start off strong. You stay strong. You stay consistent. You show up repeatedly with the same effort, with the same intention over time. Moving into discipline, it is the ability to control your actions and remain committed to what must be done, regardless of feelings or your mood. So, I may not feel like it. I may not feel like putting on makeup. I may not feel like talking. I may not feel like doing this thing. But in order for my optimism and audacity to make sense, I must be consistent. I must be disciplined. I have to repeatedly, with the same effort, with the same energy. There was something that my pastor told me years ago. And when she said it originally, I wouldn't say I didn't believe her. It's just that I didn't understand, right? So she was, explaining something to me, like, let's say in regards to praise and worship. And she said, because it was one day I just wasn't really feeling it. And I was like, Pastor, I ain't like, you got a solid 1% for me, right? And she said, Joinae, I understand that you feel that way, but someone is going to show up with the expectation, hear this, of you on 100. That someone's life could be dependent on your consistency. People, and I'm not just talking about congregation and church. People, the people that you are called to impact, the young women, the men, the young boys that you're called to impact. I'm not saying every day is, Christmas, but what I am saying, there is a commitment that is evident that you show up with the same effort and intention even over time. You start to digress. Is it digress or regress? Digress. You start to dwindle down. Like, when a clothing store or like a fast food restaurant just open, everything brand new. The staff, them look like they shirt new. Everybody looks so clean. Everybody look like they're ready just to work. And then 5 years down in that same company, the floors are stained. Certain things don't look as clean anymore. Why? Because that commitment to show up repeatedly with the same effort, with the same intention. Like how when you get a new car, you wipe down that car every day. Before you go out, you shine in that car. You know it. Every weekend, the car goes into the car wash. As a matter of fact, you're right, Miss P. She says, remember your why. As a matter of fact, you didn't even want to eat in that car when that car was new. You would go nowhere. Weekend couldn't come without you taking the car to the car wash if you ain't wipe it down yourself. And if you don't make it to the car wash Sunday after church, you wiping that car down, ready for Monday. You know why? Because it's new, it's fresh, it's nice. You like that feeling of newness. But when you have to repeatedly wash that car, when you are tired on a Sunday evening, when you are extremely hungry and made a commitment that you wasn't eating this car, that's when the issue comes in. Monique Moore Brown says, oh, yes. Monique Moore Brown says, that's our enemy, that I don't feel like it spirit. If you always wait until you feel like it, you will never do anything. There is a difference between wishing and manifesting. You can hope and wish as much as you want. Could I tell you, wishing is desire without responsibility. You can wish, tell that king, you could blow out all the birthday candles. All. But when you have that desire without that burden of responsibility, you'll never manifest. Manifestation is intentioned, partnered with belief, and aligned with action. AKA, manifestation is optimism, audacity, consistency, and discipline. It is the process of bringing something into reality through mindset, one, through preparation, okay, through decisions, and consistent movement. You don't want to be consistent. You don't want to show up when you don't feel like it. The wind blow, you ain't going. Wishing is passive hope. Manifestation is intentional action. Wishing is wanting results, but manifestation is you building capacity, asking God to increase your capacity. I don't want you to think that you could be around here asking God, oh, I want more clients. Oh, I want to be a millionaire. Everybody want to be a millionaire. Everybody want $1 million. $1 million me now, Jesus. People say, oh, every time I look at food, I get fat. Let me look at some money so I can get rich. No, how about building capacity? Because if you don't master and have the discipline for your spending now, you will squander $1 million. Hi, hello. You all right, though? You can ask for more people to be attracted to you or attracted to your brand, and you refuse to even post. How will they know? Nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna know. Why? Because you haven't built capacity. Okay. Wishing, you wait for change. Manifestation creates change. Y'all ain't about this life. No. Wishing is emotion led. Manifestation is discipline led. I'm going to help you. Wishing, and we're going to end today's show right on this note. Wishing is temporary desire. You know that feeling when you first think about that business, you first think about that, whatever. You have that temporary desire, that feeling. But when it comes to manifesting and really stepping into that reality, it is a transformational process. When you are transformed, that transformation is not lost. Let me help you. To transcend means to rise above, go beyond, or move past normal limits, boundaries, or conditions. To transcend means to go higher than what usually holds you back. To transcend means to exist in this reality and operate from a different reality. Listen, your preparation is evidence of your expectation. You need optimism. You need audacity. That's that bold courage. You need consistency and discipline. You need it. In order to transcend and get to your next place, that is exactly what you need. Remember, this is never to bash. This is never to paint a picture as if I have just been so wonderful. No. But I made up in my mind, I'm going to be audacious. I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to be optimistic. Yes, it looks difficult. Yes, it looks hard right now, but something's about to shift. Remember this, you don't shift by accident. You shift with preparation. Every Monday through Friday, same time, same place, favorite station with your favorite person right here on Glory 93.9 FM. Until next time, keep it locked and always loaded. I'm expecting great things.
You shout it out one more time. I'm expecting great things. I'm expecting great things. I'm expecting great things. I'm expecting great things. Great things. That's real simple right there. Can you help me declare it over your life? Say, I'm expecting great things. I'm expecting great things. I'm expecting